You're listening to the Talking Wolves fans' reactions for the 24-25 Premier League season.
Joey here for Talking Wolves, and I think it's a deserved result today. I don't think either team really did enough to stake a claim to all 3 points. I think we had spells where we looked all right, and then they also had really good spells as well. My main concern is just it looks like there's a major lack of cohesion still, even just passing the ball to one another. It doesn't really feel like we're building attacks up through the pitch and the game and the goals that we're scoring. That we scored today was kind of just out of the blue individual piece of talent rather than a clear-cut chance that we've created. I think we were quite okay in the first half, especially the first 10-15 minutes. I think Rain really worked quite well on the left without any sort of defensive responsibility. And then as the game went on, they sort of grew a little bit more into it. They were keeping things ticking. Obviously, they had some great chances with Chris Wood, and I think Sam Johnstone actually did a really, really great job in goal today. It's a lot to ask to have someone come in on deadline day and then the next day come in and just immediately play as the starter without any sort of one training session but on your back. So I'm impressed with Sam Johnstone. I think if we had Sarr in net, we could have easily lost the game, to be honest. I know he's great at making saves, but he's got a rash mistake or two in him. So it's good to come out of there with a point at least and get something on the board, considering we were on 0. And I'm thinking that next, after the international break, that Newcastle can be got at because they haven't been the same team as we've seen them over the last couple of seasons. But for me, I'm really just impressed by Larson again. I think proper number 9, throws himself about, good hold-up play, just needs to work a little bit more on linking up with Cunha a little bit more. But I think Cunha today didn't have his best game. He was quite selfish, really. He could have been looking for more passes. And sometimes that's just the way it goes. It wasn't our day today. For some reason, the last thing that I'll say on it is I have no idea why Hwang is coming on the pitch instead of Rodrigo Gomez. What was the point in signing Rodrigo Gomez and spending all that money? I say all that money like it was a lot, but Hwang has offered absolutely nothing since the start of the season, and Rodrigo Gomez has had a full pre-season with Wolves, with Gary O'Neill, what he wants to implement. So I'm confused as to why he's not even touching the pitch. I know I get Guedes coming on because he scored 2 goals midweek and is maybe full of confidence, but Rodrigo Gomez needs to come onto the pitch and showcase he's a talented player. We've seen that in pre-season. So, and it's not like we were playing bums in pre-season either. We were playing Premier League level opposition as well. So I don't really understand that one. Would have been nice to see Pedro Lima instead of Doc, I think, because it would have offered us something a little bit more going forward towards the end of the game. But maybe I'm just trying to be more attacking rather than solidifying the point. Hopefully after the international break, a little bit more time on the training pitch and our defence can look a little bit better because we're still getting cut open way too easily. But a point is a point, and it's better than 0.
It's finished Forest 1, Wolves 1 at the City Ground this afternoon. A really good game of football to watch, actually. I thought, as a neutral, that'd be a good game, a good advert for the Premier League. Especially the first half, end-to-end. Goals. Bellegarde's goal is absolutely unbelievable. Watching that from behind was beautiful. Their goal's frustrating to see. I haven't seen it back yet, so I can't really comment too much. But from what I saw, it's a free header at the back post, which is, 2 weeks in a row now that we've been caught by a free header at the back post. Early as well, I think it was in the first 10 minutes, and it kind of sets the tone for the game. But we reacted really quickly, got back in the game within a minute, I think it was. And then from then, it was a good first half. I thought we battled well. We defended a lot better today than we did against Chelsea. I know that's not hard, but it was just refreshing to see some players like Dawson. It just oozes a bit of class when you need it. Mosquera, I thought, dealt well with the strikers and the wide men. So yeah, it was a good first half, and then I thought the second half was a bit cagey to start with. It looked like neither team wanted to lose the game, and I thought a point overall was probably a good and fair result. We've had chances, they've had chances. Sam Johnson, who I thought is probably at fault for the first goal a little bit. I thought after the goal went in, I thought he had a really good game. We can see his distribution is a lot better than what Jose Sarr gives us. And time will tell with him. He's a good, experienced Premier League goalkeeper, so I've got no worries about that. Seeing Dawson come back, brilliant. I thought Totti dealt well with the pace of Alanga, and Hudson-Odoi, Semedo looked brilliant today. You can see that we miss him defensively against these pacey wingers. So, but when Semedo had to come off, I thought Doc did really well also. So it's a good point for Wolves today, I think, to get on the board, score another goal. You know, play better than what we did against Chelsea. We're unlucky to maybe not win the game because of, I've not seen it back, but apparently it's an absolute blatant handball. But you know, that's football. And at the end of the day, we've come away with a point. A tough place to go. There won't be many teams that beat them there this season. I don't think they're a good side. So yeah, happy with a point. I'm more happy with the performance and the fight back that we showed today after such a drubbing last week. So move on to the international breaks now. Get some rest in. The other players can go away with their nations, and just keep going. Another tough game, Newcastle. So we look forward to that. Cheers and on, boys. See you later.
Hi everyone, Liam Berry here to give my match reaction to Forest 1, Wolves 1. First point of the campaign. I don't think this point's really to go underestimated. Having coming off a 6-2 loss at home, it's difficult to bounce back anywhere you go, but Forest it's a difficult place to go away. They've had a good start, so I think this is a really top point from Wolves. But for me, it was kind of a polar opposite type of performance from what we saw against Chelsea. I think bringing Dawson in and then moving Totti out to left back, I've been saying all this week, not to toot my own horn here and say I'm a tactical genius, but I think Totti is probably our best left back in the flat back four, and then bringing Dawson in, just his experience just solidified everything. So if we can get a season out of Dawson, one, I think we'd be very lucky, and two, I think we'll be fine at the back. I think we obviously needed a centre back in the window, but we didn't manage to get one in, so we're going to have to make do with what we've got. And I think Dawson has to be starting week in, week out, and however long he can keep that up for, got no clue. Hopefully he stays fit, but he is a year older. He's not the same Dawson that he was maybe 2 years ago. Fitness-wise, I mean, performance-wise, obviously we saw today he was top quality. So that really solidified the defence for me. Again, bar from that early bit of madness on the corner, which I'll go on to later. We were really solid defensively. And then going forwards, we didn't have that same effect going forwards than we did against Chelsea in that first half last weekend. So I think that's something for O'Neill to kind of try and find a balance, because at the moment it definitely feels like one area of the pitch thrives and the other one is just absolutely dross. So that's something for O'Neill to find the balance of. I don't know what O'Neill's got to do with any of this, but yeah, again, going back onto that early corner, why Chris Wood was left unmarked twice, because he was left unmarked from the free kick that led to the corner, is beyond me. He's probably one of the best aerial threats in the Premier League, let alone at Forest. So for some bizarre reason, he's left unmarked. Maybe Johnston could have saved it, but I'm not going to judge him on that, because I don't think he was expecting it. Nobody was expecting to see him unmarked. So yeah, terrible start, but then really good response from Bellegarde, who I think's a top player. When he came in last season, I thought he was going to have a really big impact but he never really had the run of games. I think with Neto, Hwang and Cunha playing as good as they did, I don't think he really fit the system that O'Neill was playing. But now with the switch to the back four, I think Battleguard should be playing week in, week out. I think he's got such quality going forwards, and last season he was played a bit deeper, which I don't think complements his game really. But I feel like he was played there maybe when we got some injuries to the team. So this season is, for me, is Battleguard's year. Hopefully he can solidify a place in the first team, but top finish. Wolves didn't score a goal outside the box in the Premier League all last season, and Bellegarde's just went and done it in the third game. So yeah, it was the top goal. I think it was important to respond quickly. I think we play with a lot of emotion, and I think the longer that game goes on, especially away from home, I think the more difficult it would have been to get back into it. As for the debutants that came in yesterday, actually, Johnston went straight into goal. Jose Sarr didn't travel, so it'll be interesting to see if he moves off to Saudi in the coming days. But for me, if we move Sarr on for a profit and we've brought Sam Johnston in as his replacement, that's a tiny bit of business. I think Johnston's better on the ball than Jose Sarr. When Sarr had the ball at his feet, my heart was I think everybody's heart was in their mouth. You don't really know what he's going to do. Not to disrespect Sarr, I think he was a top keeper for us, but I do feel like this is the end of the road for him at Wolves. Not to sound dramatic or anything, but I think Johnston had a really, really good game. Again, maybe that Chris Wood goal he could have saved, but apart from that, he didn't put a foot wrong. He made a couple of really good saves, kept us in the game as well. And again, his distribution was really good. So I think it's really encouraging signs from Johnston. And then Andre came on near the end. I think he was at a point in the game where we lost a bit of control, so he's obviously been brought in to try and regain that. We kind of got that. And he looked tidy. I think he's a top signing. Again, there's a lot. I think O'Neill's got a bit of a headache now. He doesn't really know. Well, he might know. I'm not going to speak on behalf of O'Neill. How you fit those three in whilst maintaining the threat going forwards, that's a difficult decision. Because I think Andre came on, didn't look out of place at all in his Premier League debut. So yeah, he looks like a top player. He looked really reminiscent of João Gomez, which is a really good sign. Maybe you need a bit more diversity in that midfield, but maybe against the top teams you kind of need to have three players in that midfield that are like the same profile as those players. So yeah, signings that came in. Hopefully Carlos Forbes can come in soon. I think if he was playing, we might have snatched a win. So yeah, I'm not saying he's the best player in the world, but his type of profile of player, we kind of lack that today. Somebody that's going to pick up the ball and go direct. So yeah, all in all, very good point. Hopefully after the international break, we can bounce back with a win.
So an interesting game today. I don't know what I was expecting beforehand, to be honest, when he named the team. Obviously, he's still stuck with the four at the back, with Aït-Nouri playing a bit higher. And we started the game pretty well, to be honest. Really disappointed with going behind to such a silly goal, such a preventable goal. Not what you want to see from your new signing in goal, his first contribution. But even the defending free header for Chris Wood is criminal, really. It was a typical Nuno performance from Forest as well. They didn't come out to us. They didn't really seem to have much of a strategy. They worked hard in their defensive half and played off set pieces and counter-attacks, and we kind of fell into their trap a bit. We gave a lot of silly possession away, simple balls, and I think especially when you're playing away from home, you can afford to be a bit more patient on the ball without the pressure from the fans and things like that. So I just thought a little bit more care taken with the ball would have been a bit more fruitful for us. With that being said, we were still very dangerous. We started the game really, really well. And we had several chances. Aït-Nouri should have scored in the first minute, like criminal. He had an open goal. People have probably forgotten about that because it was so early, but we have to be putting chances like that away. Second half was a bit different, really. Like, still wasn't impressed with Forest. We just succumbed to pressure from, prehistoric tactics, really. Chris Wood, you know what's going to come to you. They played a lot of set pieces. We let lots of crosses into the box, which was really disappointing. Neither of the fullbacks stopped many crosses going in, which I didn't like. But in the end, happy with a point considering how the game was ending. But yeah, still lots to build on, and hopefully, you know, with the international break, a settled squad now, he can do that. So onwards and upwards, hopefully.
Right, so it's finished Wolves 1, Forest 1. A very positive point, I think, to take away from home against a Forest side who have obviously well drilled by Nuno. But yeah, we obviously changing the side. Aït-Nouri playing a lot higher, and Dawson and Semedo came in, who were my two standout players really today. I think Dawson's really cemented now that position to Wolves fans after Wednesday night's performance as well. He just seems to you know, win every duel, win every header. I think he kept Chris Wood quiet for large parts of the game. Not the most ideal of starts with the Chris Wood goal, obviously very disappointing again, similar to Jackson's goal, 3-man at the back post. And we got away with it the second half with Wood again being offside, thankfully that time. I think that's something that will be addressed by Gary O'Neill, especially over the international break now. Obviously instant reply from Bellegarde, great goal. I thought he was a shining light in the first half really. Him, Cunha and Larsson really stood out for me. I thought Larsson's hold-up play, especially in the first half, which was a huge positive for Wolves, and something that we've really missed, especially for large parts of last season as well. I think the slight problem with the back four at the minute is a lack of discipline from Yerson Mosquera. I thought today, especially in the first half, he jumped out to press the midfield, and there was a through ball, and you know, he was offside, thankfully. But I think that's where really you need to be careful with a back four. Obviously, you've only got one covering centre half, with that being Dawson. As well, normally in the back five, obviously you'd have two around you to you know, sort of shield away those sort of opportunities. But moving on chronologically to the second half, was very boring. No side seemed to really get a grip of the game. I saw both managers were very disappointed with what they saw. I thought lack of quality on the ball from both sides. I thought Lamina and Gomez, obviously, you know, you get what you expect every week from them. They're so consistent with how they always win the ball back, but then you've got to have a sort of calmness from your other players around. But yeah, no, Semedo and Dawson definitely my standouts. Johnston obviously would have been disappointed with the goal, but apart from that, I thought he looked calmer on the ball. And two, obviously, superb saves off Chris Wood and Gibbs White free kick. But yeah, there's not too much to report on in the second half really. I thought it went a bit quiet. I thought Forest probably would have had the better of the chances. I thought Elliot Anderson really looked a good player for them in the midfield. But you know what, it's a point. We're off the board, away from home, international break now, and Newcastle at home on the 15th, which hopefully we can look to get a minimum of a point. But yeah, thanks for having me on, Dave.
Hey everyone, Harrison here. Just finished watching the game. Forest 1, Wolves 1, away at Nottingham. Very stressful game to watch. Started off, was very curious to see how Gary was going to set us up when I saw the lineup. Whether Aït-Nouri would play as part of a back five or further up, but he kept with a back four, had Aït-Nouri playing on the left wing. And I never really felt like we got into the game either half, like properly. Had a couple times where we were able to play the ball around, but for the majority of the game, felt like Forest were the better team. The ones looking more likely to win the game. Obviously, Chris Wood put them 1-0 up with a header. Johnston arguably could have done better, but looked like his sight was blocked. Decent debut by him. Had a couple really good saves and kept us in the game at 1-1. Obviously, after the Chris Wood goal, Bellegarde with an absolute screamer, which is really good to see. He's had a couple decent games now to start the season, but yeah, rough game to watch, to be honest. Very stressful. Felt like Forest were going to nick it at the end. Chris Wood with the offside goal as well. Player of the match today, not too hard to pick between two. I'd say Mario Lemina had a real captain's performance. He was everywhere, winning duels. Scary to see him go down near the end, but he looks okay. And Craig Dawson, great to have him back. I think his partnership with Mosquera will be quite good. Toddy's still a bit unsure about him, probably a little bit better at left back. Would love to see Rodrigo Gomez back in the team. Bit interesting to see that Gary hasn't picked him, but international break now. Gary gets to work with some new signings, Forbes, Andre, and yeah, it'll be good to see if he can work with them over the break and we can build off our first point in the Premier League.